What is happening, and welcome back to another awesome episode of A1A Adventures. Now, this episode is going to focus a little bit on our coral tanks, so if you're here to learn about lights, coral, and nano reef tanks, you are in the right place. Wouldn't you guys say so? I say so. So, let's get to it. Alright, so if you've been following this channel since day one, or even if more recently, you could see one of our most viewed videos is about this coral right here. The green star polyp. Now that's a soft coral, and it has some beauty to it, which also is a huge part of this tank, and many others I'm sure, and hopefully yours at home too, because it is super easy to keep, however, sometimes not so easy to keep. So if you ever have a problem with it referred to, we have an entire playlist on them, and that's that. But let's get to the lights. Now, today we are going to be comparing two different types of lights, not necessarily the brands, but let's go ahead and address those brands anyway. Today is Spectra versus Fluval. So Fluval here is an LED light. This is the Fluval Nano, which we recently acquired, and this is the Spectra Aqua V2. Now, both of these lights are absolutely amazing. This is not a big tank at all. This is a Fluval Flex 10-gallon. So I'm pretty sure you're asking yourself, why would you need two lights on a Fluval Flex 10-gallon on a nano coral reef tank? However, I don't. I just choose to, and only until recently, because I wanted to compare both lights, and they've both been running for a substantial amount of time, so we can go ahead and get to that, and I'll give you my observations on one side versus the other, the different spectrum that they both produce, and the intensity that you may want to wish for or watch out for. Now, as far as the specifications go with the Spectra light, this is a metal halide light, which is also, if you're familiar with bulbs or if you're into the car industry or anything like that, these are similar to HID bulbs. They are high intensity bulbs, and they do contain a gas with inside of them that basically bounces off the reflectors on the inside, and it projects a very intense, bright, also distributes rays away from the tank, sometimes, which is what you don't want. However, you can always get an adapter kit for these. They do sell them online, which is similar to having a cup right around here, which will project all the lights straight down to where you want it to be directed to. However, it can be also affecting other tanks, like as our clownfish tank over here used to get a lot of the strayed rays that would go into that tank, so we'd get algae streaks, which exactly followed those rays, similar to back here on the wall. It just, the algae would follow those streaks. So to protect your other tanks, if you don't want algae increase, I would highly suggest in getting one of those. Now, to the other style of light, this is by Fluval. Fluval, we all love Fluval. We love Fluval just as much as we love Spectra. Today we are just going ahead and compare the two differences. This is an LED style bulb. Now, LEDs, as anything else, can be as intense as you want them to be, depending on the lumens that they are measured in, or that the maximum that they can produce on their output, or they could be as gentle and as soft as you need them to be. However, LEDs do not produce as much heat as this metal halide bulb does. Because of the gases and the intensity of it, you will get more of a direct heat reaction versus a softer heat reaction, and also depends on how close the bulbs are to your coral. Now, this bulb I've raised up a little more, and both are controllable with their intensity equivalently. This one by an app, this one directly by a timer on top. And I have videos on both of these, unboxing both of these, and programming the Spectra Aqua V2 LED coral lamp as well. Check that one out. It's a good one. But when you have heat with a mixture and an incorporation of light, that enhances what? I'll give you 2 seconds. Algae, and a lot of it. So on this side, typically this whole entire tank only had this one bulb centered in position perfectly in the middle, straight down. So I did create a gap in the middle of all the rock in my coral, so it would, if anything, be at that strongest point, which would be a weak point, and kind of distributing the rays evenly throughout. Now, that was good and bad. Because this light is connected to a neck, it is not being suspended by any wiring or anything hanging from the ceilings here, which therefore the higher you can keep it away from your tank, the more evenly distributed the light can be, because it has only about 12-inch, I'd say it's about a foot, of height distribution. You have to keep it really low, and to my experience, it only concentrated on the main center portion of this tank, as opposed to having a fuller spectrum covering the entire tank. You can really create an evenly distributed par throughout the tank as desired. So you can position your corals as you want them to, so they can get the maximum benefit out of all of their light. Now, before anybody says anything about this Montipora, yeah, we can go ahead and get into that right now. Now that I've cleaned this whole entire tank, our past couple videos, they've been a little bit shady as far as the algae growth goes, which I love to leave a lot of algae in here anyway, because we have snails and cleanup crews that take care of a lot of it. Now, the Kenyan tree coral back here, not until a recent water change has actually fully opened. And no, that was not due to the water. I change the water every single week. This is my OCD of a tank to keep and always stay up to par. However, the light was beaming on it for too long, and before I could even notice, I left a little algae just so I could show you guys. You see the algae that's slightly left on the rocks? I mean, I got a nail scrubber brush, and I went at it. I went ham. This thing was covered in algae only from the last water change. So from all of the heat and all of the light that it gets, that's just a little bit. That's nothing. That is nothing. That's very acceptable to any reefer, as well as off of the back on the wall. That the algae kind of sprouts in the back, those are almost permanent. I mean, even scrubbing those to death, those things do not go anywhere, but they don't do anything more than just leave a little stain on the back wall. Now, the Montipora is due to the mantis shrimp that we have living in here only for a temporary little bit more. So you could find that mantis shrimp is going to be right behind the base of that Kenyan tree coral. Now, the mantis shrimp picked at this Montipora coral, and picked at it not with the intentions to eat it. No, this Montipora was actually positioned right above the Duncan coral. That's the Duncan right there. Beautiful. Look at that. It already has 9 heads on this thing. It's only had it for 6 months. So right up there, boop, right in that hole, right in the center, is where the Montipora was recently positioned. And that mantis shrimp wanted that hole. It wanted to get back there and make a home, so it actually ripped out the Montipora by the center of it. It's doing perfectly fine. I just moved it away from there, and it's continuing to just fluff up and grow, which is what we want, of course. And we recently acquired this beauty. Look at that back there. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. And this coral is called a hydnophora. You got to see this thing at night when the moonlight goes on, and then it's only a black light. This whole entire little frag rack right here glows like insane. Not to mention Palizoas back there, they are spreading like beasts. We only had 3 or 4 heads to begin with. Now they're spreading off of the rock. I've moved that frag before. I just kind of put it back there because I seem to love that spot. This Kenyan tree coral was a freebie. It actually was stuck. There's a little tiny piece on the bottom of that base. If you could see it right there, it's a new baby Kenyan tree coral growing from the base of this big one. That's how we originally got this big one. It was only as big as that, a little baby base of a tree coral on the bottom of these guys when we first got them, only about 5 months ago. So that is all compliments. I can't give any credit to Fluval because of that. Fluval has only been on this tank for about a week now. So I give all the credit to Spectra on that. Spectra boosted a lot with this. It also, there was always a missing gap on the bottom of the Massalaya coral. That's filled in very nicely. That sucker's always puffed up. You know, I mean, everything's doing great. So I just wanted to put a compare and contrast on the different types of bulbs. Now, my intentions, yes, I'm going to keep both of these bulbs on this tank because everything is doing awesome. I can keep, now there's, with this, it only provides, I must say, three different spectrum tones: purple, white, and cyan. Cyan is like a teal, like a sky blue. So you have purple, sky blue, and white. This one has the purple, the sky blue, which is a cyan, the white. It has a red, which kind of puts a pink off tone, and which other one am I missing? Purple. Red, cyan, white, purple, blue. You have all those, and you can adjust them to your liking and to your specifications how you want it. I love full spectrum lighting on coral. However, I cannot get away from being a fan of this light right here just because of the different glow. I mean, if you see both of them, I'll do another video in the future where I'll just have one running and I'll have just the other one running, and you'll be able to see the difference, honestly. I mean, it's just going to mess with my timers right now, so that'll, you know, conflict a little bit with the goal of this video for the time that I have to make it today, but it is very different. And not one is better than the other. That is my point. So that's why I'm not keeping one or the other off of this tank. I'm going to even expand this tank very soon and continue to have these lights on them, and we'll be able to raise them a little more, and it'll be able to cover the whole entire vast vicinity of this entire coral tank once it's a bigger tank. So with these two lights going, I mean, I know it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. And today's video is just to show you that I'm a fan of both. I cannot choose one over the other. It's honestly your personal preference. You can get a little bit more versatility if you want to set the mood, set the lighting in your home with this one, as it's a little more digitally controlled and through an app, and a little more customizable. As opposed to this one, you know, basically you don't have the night setting. You can have the night setting to be continuously running, but to shut off, no. You have to have your 3 daytime settings, your third setting as, you know, as your nighttime. That's it. As opposed to this one, you can have a nighttime setting. So you can keep it on black light or blue or anything where everything glows at night. So, however, this, the Nano, the Fluval Nano, definitely can cover, I know it, only a smaller tank such as this. This is a 10-gallon, so maybe a 15-gallon cube, maybe a 20-gallon cube at most, as opposed to this. The Spectra, I know, can cover a big tank. I mean, it could probably fry this tank. This is only turned up about 15 to 20% of the entire way. Even less now, even less, because I have 2 bulbs. So before it was turned up about only 25% of its maximum capacity, and this one right here is turned up even currently to about half of its maximum capacity. So it's about 45% maxed out. This is only about 15 to 20% maxed out. But I need you both. I need you both to carry us through this successful mission on this beautiful coral tank that continuously thrives, and we love you guys. As you can hear the mantis clicking in the background, it is eating in there. So to all the haters who said, you cannot have a mantis shrimp in there, you cannot have a mantis shrimp in there, I know I can't, but guess what, I choose to, and it's awesome. So soon enough we'll be doing private feedings, and we'll have it in another tank. But until that video comes, please smash a like button on this one, subscribe to this channel so you are a part of all of this journey with our coral, our reef tanks, and our mantis shrimp, as well as all the other animals that we have on this channel. Now, until further ado, I'm out. As always, stay adventurous. A1A Adventure.